American Express membership reward points are super valuable if you know how to use them. They transfer to a bunch of different airline partners and can be redeemed a variety of different ways for travel. In this video, I'll go over 6 practical ways to maximize your American Express membership reward points. And by practical, I mean these are achievable to the regular person. We aren't going for the hard to find first class seats that only become available once a year. These redemptions are semi-easy and more common redemptions, but still offer a good value for your American Express points. We'll cover some economy and business class flights options, so there is something for everyone in this video. My name is Max and I hope people maximize airline miles, hotel points, and credit card points. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button down below. It does help out my channel, and let's get started. There are multiple ways to redeem American Express points for travel, but in most cases, the best way is to transfer American Express points to one of American Express's 21 transfer partners. If you have no idea how to transfer American Express points, I'll link the video up here, and I'll link it down in the description as well. But essentially, it's turning American Express points into airline miles or points. But depending on where you transfer them, sometimes you can get some good value and sometimes some not so good value. Some transfer partners are better than others, so let's go over my 6 of my favorite transfer partners in no particular order. American Express points are the only credit card points that transfer to ANA, which makes this a unique transfer partner exclusively to American Express. Not only is this transfer exclusive to American Express points, but the redemption rates through ANA award program is really good. If you want to fly between the US and Tokyo, it's 85,000 miles round trip in business class, 88,000 miles between the US and Europe or South America, and 104,000 between the US and Africa or the Middle East. And again, this is all round trip and all in business class. These redemption rates are great, but it gets kind of tricky. The options I mentioned above are round trip award redemptions because ANA requires you to book round trip tickets. So you have to find the award availability for the inbound and the outbound flight at the same time to be able to book a mileage ticket through ANA. To make things a little trickier, it can even take up to 3 days to transfer American Express points over to ANA. Say you found the award space, but by the time it takes you to transfer the points over to ANA, the award availability disappears and someone else booked your flights. Well, the points that you transferred over to ANA, you can't transfer them back to American Express. So that 3-day transfer time can get a little tricky and a little challenging to navigate. So proceed with caution here. If you can find the award space and you can transfer the points in time to book, you can potentially score an awesome deal for business class flights by transferring your American Express points over to ANA. Speaking of ANA, my next transfer partner is a good way to get around ANA's requirement to book round trip flights. But before we do that, I want to thank today's sponsor, Melio. I became interested in Melio when I needed to pay one of my business vendors who didn't accept credit card. Since I'm all about maximizing my credit card points that I earn, I started looking for alternative solutions, and that's when I discovered Melio. With the user-friendly Melio app, I can conveniently pay all my business expenses and invoices online from one platform without any setup or subscription fees. What's great is that Melio allows me to pay my vendors using my preferred payment method, whether it's free bank transfers or using a credit card with a small 2.9% fee. And if you play your cards right, that could be a small price to pay to rack up the reward points and perks offered by credit card issuers. My vendor still gets paid the way they want to, ACH or traditional check, which Melio sends on my behalf, and they don't even need to sign up to be a Melio user, and there are multiple same-day payment options available too. Melio also syncs with QuickBooks and Xero. So whenever you add vendors or complete your payment, your accounting software will automatically be updated. It's simple and a seamless experience for me and my vendor, and I can process payments all from my phone wherever I am, whenever I want. If you own a business, try Melio and make your payment processing easier. Click the link in the description or visit this link and make your first payment today. Thanks Melio for sponsoring today's video. So next up is Virgin Atlantic. I don't know how long this will last, but Virgin Atlantic has a special partnership with ANA, which allows you to book one-way ANA operated flights at a really good rate. Remember in the previous section I said ANA only allows you to book round-trip award tickets through ANA? Well, Virgin Atlantic lets you book them as one-way tickets, but this is for ANA operated flights only, and it's at a really good rate. For as little as 45,000 Virgin Atlantic miles, you can book ANA-operated business class tickets between the US and Tokyo, and from the Midwest or the East Coast, it's a little bit more at 47,500 Virgin Atlantic miles. Those redemption rates are pretty good already, but oftentimes American Express has transfer bonuses over to Virgin Atlantic, and most of the time it's 30%. And so that means if it costs 45,000 Virgin Atlantic miles, stack a 30% transfer bonus on top of that. That means you only need to transfer 35,000 American Express points over to Virgin Atlantic, and you can fly one-way business class between the West Coast and Tokyo, which is a fantastic deal. And that's not the only great thing about Virgin Atlantic, though. Using a Virgin Atlantic, you can book Delta operated flights, and it's typically less than what Delta charges for their own flights, and this works for domestic and international flights. Domestically, if you want to fly from LAX to JFK, it's 15,000 Virgin Atlantic miles, and it's operated by Delta Airlines. For international flights, you can book Delta One flights for as little as 50,000 Virgin Atlantic miles one way to Europe. But award availability for that one can be kind of tough to come by though. If you want a video on how to maximize Virgin Atlantic miles, I'll link it up here and down in the description as well. Next up is Avianca LifeMiles. Avianca LifeMiles is a Star Alliance partner which allows you to use LifeMiles to book any of these Star Alliance airlines. If you're looking to fly in economy and really maximize your American Express points, Avianca LifeMiles is a good option. Their economy redemption rates tend to be less than what other Star Alliance airlines are charging for the same exact flight. Let's take a look at this chart comparing some redemption options for economy flights. LifeMiles has the lowest redemption on all these routes except for JFK to Cairo, but it's not far off though. LifeMiles often runs transfer bonuses too, so if you stack a transfer bonus on top of these lower redemption rates, even at a low 15% transfer bonus, LifeMiles still wins in all of these sample routes. As for business class, LifeMiles not bad either. Let's take a look at this chart. So as you can see, LifeMiles is a better option for LAX to Bogota and JFK to Vienna, and it's a tie from JFK to Cairo. In some cases, LifeMiles is the way to go. In other cases, Air Canada might be the better option. If you want to see a separate video about LifeMiles, check out the video up here or down in the description. And so continuing on to another Star Alliance partner, Air Canada. So the great thing about American Express points is that they transfer to two solid Star Alliance partners, LifeMiles and Air Canada Aeroplan. This is helpful because it allows you to compare the redemption rates between the two Star Alliance programs and pick and choose which one requires the fewest amount of points for your redemption. I like Air Canada for American Express points for a couple reasons. Air Canada sees award space that LifeMiles and other Star Alliance partners are not able to see. For example, Singapore Airlines premium cabins. Say if I want to fly business class to Singapore, and if I search on LifeMiles, LifeMiles won't see the award space. I can only find it on Air Canada Aeroplan and Singapore Airlines website, but it doesn't stop there. On Singapore Airlines website, they're charging me a lot of points for the flight. The same exact flight booked through Air Canada Aeroplan, much cheaper. So why would I ever want to transfer my American Express points over to Singapore Airlines when it costs so much more points than if I booked through Air Canada Aeroplan? Air Canada Aeroplan also has a lot of airline partners outside of the Star Alliance too, which is super helpful. I always recommend comparing Air Canada and all the other Star Alliance airlines that American Express points transfers to see which airline program requires the fewest amount of points. Let's move on to the next transfer partner, which is Flying Blue. Flying Blue is the rewards program for Air France and KLM, and it's a great way to get to Europe. Air France and KLM flights are dynamically priced. So that means it can be kind of unpredictable, but sometimes it could be unpredictable and dynamically priced in a good way. For example, one day it might be 55,000 points, and unexplainably the next day might be 130 Flying Blue miles. We hate dynamic pricing, but sometimes that's the cool thing about dynamic pricing is that you never know what you're gonna get. And so sometimes you can get business class as low as 55,000 miles and economy seats for just 15,000 miles. While the taxes and fees are a little high, around like $200 each way for business class or $60 each way for economy, the redemption rates can be pretty low, which makes it worthwhile. In addition to the low redemption rates, Flying Blue often has these monthly promo rewards where they'll discount award tickets between 25 to 50% off on specific routes. There's also transfer bonuses that you can stack on top of that as well. So there are a lot of ways to maximize Flying Blue miles. I'll link a video up here and down in the description as well. And finally, the sixth way to maximize your American Express points is transfer your American Express points over to British Airways. This one might sound a little weird for those who aren't familiar with airline partnerships and code shares. American Express points can't be transferred directly to American Airlines. Instead, you can transfer American Express points to British Airways, an American Airlines partner, and use them to book the American Airlines flight. I explained this in a couple other videos, which I'll link up here and down in the description as well. But this strategy all hinges in the fact that British Airways and American Airlines are part of the One World Alliance. When they're part of the same alliance, that means you can potentially book award tickets between both of the airlines. And British Airways has some really good redemption rates for American airline flights. For example, from the West Coast to Hawaii, it's 13,000 British Airways Avios one way. If you want to get to the Caribbean, you can start in Florida and get to a place like Aruba for just 9,000 British Airways Avios. Or if you want to fly from coast to coast, LAX to New York, it's 13,000 British Airways Avios. If you want to hop down to Mexico, Dallas to Cancun is just 9,000 British Airways Avios. And these are all flights operated by American Airlines. And since British Airways is a One World airline, you can also book flights with other One World partners other than American Airlines, like Qatar Airways. For example, you can go from the US to Doha for just 70,000 British Airways Avios. That's if you can find the award availability, which can be somewhat challenging. But if you want to head to Tokyo from the US, you can fly Japan Airlines business class for 77,250 British Airways Avios as an example. So those are the 6 ways to maximize your American Express points. If you want more ways to maximize your credit card points, check out this playlist. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you could do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button down below, it does help with my channel. All the additional video resources are linked down in the description down below. Check out the video sponsor as well. Clicking on those links helps support my work and helps support my channel. Thanks for watching this far, and I'll see you guys in the next one.